Not too long ago, the KSL investigators revealed the moving nightmares of half a dozen Utahns over the past year. Inaccurate estimates, property held hostage, items lost or damaged.
Yeah, well, Deanie, since then, we have received email after email after email, very similar stories. And the common thread weaving through every single complaint is that they hired moving brokers. And before you do the same thing, we're going to show you the fine print that you need to be aware of.
Can we do that over the phone, or you guys come here?
From the moment John Accarino took this call,
One living room table stand,
he knew of the risks. He knew of the complaints.
a two-section couch.
And he knew it could be a mistake. But he also knew
I was on a tight deadline.
the rush to get out of Utah and start a new job was putting him in a tricky spot.
I needed to be in Raleigh, North Carolina before the end of the year, and none of the moving companies could really guarantee that that was going to happen.
So to make it happen, John went with a moving broker out of Florida, New Leaf Moving Group. They've got a nice website, smiling faces, glowing reviews, and their #1 goal has always been customer satisfaction. In short here, you pay them and they find professional movers for you. But for John, once the movers showed up,
What showed up at my house was a bunch of random guys with U-Hauls.
the red flags started flying. One
I could have packed the van better.
after another
All of our wooden furniture has gashes and dents,
after another.
and the number on the calculator is just going higher and higher and higher.
And total price of John's move, $25,889. That is more than double the cost quoted by the broker. And when KSL checked with the feds and the Better Business Bureau, that discrepancy in price is one of the biggest complaints against the company. But in a phone conversation, New Leaf tells KSL those complaints are only a fraction of their total moves, even putting the blame on customers like John
And we went through very detailed.
for not giving them accurate information over the phone. And while they refuse to go on camera to talk about it,
You know, you hear about this stuff regularly.
Sean Williams was happy to share his thoughts about some brokers in the industry. He, too, is a broker and the owner of American Moving Experts out of Florida.
Issues and complaints happen every single day. We do 300 to 500 moves a month. We do a substantial amount. They happen every day, but they're typically minimal.
Sean's been in the industry nearly a decade and believes there's 3 kinds of brokers out there: experienced and trying to do the right thing, inexperienced and trying to do the right thing, and deceptive, not trying to do the right thing.
We're competing with these brokers who are telling these customers, blatant lies, complete lies, underquoting.
Ask Sean and he'll tell you he's in the experienced category, trying to do the right thing. But ask one of his customers,
They're telling me they're still not liable for that.
and he's not totally convinced.
So at that point, we had believed that our belongings had disappeared and we were never going to see them again.
Now that's Tyler Breeding. He hired Sean and American Moving Experts in November to coordinate his move from Utah to South Carolina. He paid Sean, the broker, nearly $1,700 and paid the mover $2,000 more. But nearly 3 months later, Tyler's property never made it to South Carolina. In fact, never even left the state. Rather, it was found stuffed in a storage unit in Salt Lake.
That storage unit they dumped my stuff in was 2 weeks from going up to, basically a Storage Wars online auction. And then we never would have seen our stuff again.
But Sean says situations like this are extremely rare. For logistics, they hired a moving company they had never worked with before, Papa Taylor Moving and Storage out of Oklahoma. But in the middle of Tyler's move, this right here popped up on the Federal Motor Carrier's website. And yeah, you're reading that correctly. They went out of business, which means Tyler paid them $2,000 to move his stuff into a storage unit, not tell them where it is, and then vanish. Sean says it's one of the biggest challenges of being a broker, and that's finding movers you can trust.
You have to prove yourself. I'm constantly vetting them. I have a girl that sole job is to vet and monitor carriers consistently every day, every morning.
Vetted or not, when things go wrong, can you count on the broker to make things right? He's out that money. They didn't do their job. What are your thoughts on that? Should that responsibility fall on you?
Legally speaking, we're not liable for any of the acts or omissions of the carrier. So anything that was paid to them is legally not our responsibility.
He's right. Just look at the contract here where it clearly states American Moving Experts is not responsible for any acts or omissions of the moving company, which means they legally take zero responsibility for the company that they vetted and they hired for you.
He's claiming they're one of the good guys, and I want to believe him, but at the end of the day, my experience with them has been absolutely horrible.
Horrible feelings by Tyler.
The broker actually did nothing.
And feelings shared by Mr. Accarino. Remember the broker estimate off by $13,000? Now, the good news here is John put GPS trackers on his property, making sure it ended up in North Carolina. The bad news, the movers hired by New Leaf had only been in business a few weeks. They were unsearchable on the DOT's website, and the only way they'd unload his stuff.
And then all of a sudden, I had to figure out how to come up with $20,000 cash.
Yeah, $20,000 in money orders and cash, leaving John to question what he saw on that website, the smiling faces, the glowing reviews, and that #1 goal of customer satisfaction.
All right, so one last note here. Accarino claims that there was $9,000 worth of damage to his property during that move. Well, he just got a check to recover his losses for $165. Now, if you choose a broker instead of finding movers on your own, we do have some valuable tips from the FMCSA website there. You can find that information on our website. That's KSLTV.com.